Welcome back to Trip of Our Life. I'm Alex, and this is not my bus. Our bus is in the barn there. This is my friend Sarah's RV, and she just got it. She got it from a reputable dealer here in Columbus, and I think they kind of screwed her over. This is a 17, and I went with her to look at it before she bought it, and it looked okay, but after she bought it for, you know, pretty good money. She got it home, and just a few days later realized it started smelling a little musty inside, and there's pretty good reason for that. This thing has a ton of water damage. So today we're trying to fix that. We have spent a lot of time ripping out all the water damage in the slide on the floor and the lower walls, and show you where we're at and then how we're going to fix it. So the reason we didn't catch all this water damage is because it was mostly behind the couch, which is bolted to the floor, and underneath the benches of the dinette. And we did knock on the floor and stand on the floor everywhere we could, but we couldn't find any soft spots. She did try and get her money back from the dealer, but they told her more or less to get lost. She considered getting a lawyer, but ultimately we realized we could probably do a better job and fix it good as new, so we decided to do this instead. So this is where things are now. It's not supposed to look like this. There used to be a couch here and a dinette over there, but all of this was rotted. Actually, this half wasn't too bad, but that half was just absolutely disgusting. And so we've been ripping out all the floor and part of the walls, and this is what a slide looks like when everything's ripped out. You can see the grass under there, and you can see how all this has been discolored and rotted, and all the steel is rusted. And basically what we're going to try and do is replace the floor. And in case you didn't know, I didn't know this, but slides are pretty poorly built. It's just an aluminum frame that if I push up here, you can see how much it moves in relationship to the steel slide that is on these tracks that goes back and forth. And so I need to weld on some little brackets under here that are basically going to support this aluminum, because there used to be some wood under there and it all rotted out, and frankly I don't think it's a very good idea. So we're going to put some steel under there, and hopefully it will be a much better product than it was when it left the factory. That's the plan. Let's see how it goes. First issue, here's my welder, and that's about as far as it's going to go because it's plugged in over there, and it will run on 120, so you could run it on an extension cord, but that bottle weighs a ton and it's a bother to move on gravel. So we're going to leave the welder right there, and we're going to bring the RV to the welder. So we're going to leave the slides out because, well, they're kind of precarious to move right now, but we'll just drive real slow, back the slide around here, and I'll show you what we're going to weld. So I'd overshoot it and then like back up past the trailer tongue there, and then get like snug up to pretty much as close as you can. That'll work. Just hold there, that's good. Problem one solved. Now the welder, very close to the RV. Let me show you what we're trying to do here. So we have this steel frame member here, and the back part of the slide is supported here, but the side frame here is not supported at all. There used to be a piece of wood that was in here, and it's completely rotted away. So instead of wood, we're gonna put some little steel pieces that come across here. Then we're going to put a little sandwich piece to separate the steel from the aluminum so we don't have any corrosion. Then we're going to run screws up through the steel pieces into the aluminum frame to tie it all together so that it doesn't flex. Like this. Seriously, the way these things are made from the factory is a complete joke. So this is what I got. Got some little stubby pieces of steel. I already drilled a hole in them because I hate drilling holes. And I did this on the drill press as opposed to doing it after they're up in here. So the plan is to take 4 of these on each side and weld these on kind of like that. And then we can drill a screw or run a screw up through the holes into that aluminum, and that will kind of lock these together much better than the old rotted wood ever would have. It's really hard to believe, but the way this was built from the factory, they just had a piece of plywood that was edge screwed into this steel that I'm welding on now. Then the entire weight of the side walls of these slides was just resting on that plywood, and it rotted out. And so the whole slide was just flexing way too much on this rotted wood. And like, I can't fathom why they built it this way. Like, why not make the frame wide enough to support the sidewalls of the slide? I really can't think of a good reason of why they did it this way. If you have industry experience and you know why they did this way, please comment below and so we can all learn a little bit from it. Or if you're an RV manufacturer, I hope you're watching this and do things a little differently next time, because in my opinion, this is unacceptable. We're making progress. Next step is to make some shims. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap between these pieces that I welded on here and this aluminum piece, and we need to fill that. So I'm gonna cut a piece of plywood to fit there, and then we'll run some screws up through it, and then that should prevent this from doing this anymore. This is not what we want. So we need to basically mate the sidewalls to the steel frame that is actually on the tracks that slide. See if this will fit. In case it's not clear, the purpose of this spacer is to create a gap between the steel and aluminum. You never want steel and aluminum directly touching each other for a long-term solution for anything. It causes corrosion and all sorts of problems, but we do have the steel underneath there supporting everything. There we go. Look at that. So now I think we can run some screws up through there. That'll hold real nice. All right, we can see these spacers we welded on here. 1, 2, 3 of them. Got our plywood, and we're gonna go up through. All right, that side seems to be holding pretty well. Those teeth bit in really nicely on those screws. And do the other side, and we'll see if we can run the slide in and out without this flexing too much. All right, moment of truth. We're gonna see if the slide will go in and out without too much trouble here. Ooh. Very nice. Wanna put it back out?
Yes.
Way better. I think we're on the right track. So what we're doing here is actually extending the steel frame to kind of change the floor plan a little bit. We figured since we're ripping everything up, we might as well do it a little differently this time to better support a floor plan that she wanted. Sarah decided that she wanted to put in a bigger couch that someone could actually sleep on instead of the little jackknife couch that it came with. So to make this work, we wanted to extend the floor into the main living space just a little bit. So you can see here that I'm welding on some little extensions. Then I'm going to put a front lip piece on at the end there. And what I'm doing right now is adding a support further in the back there. There's a big gap, and we just needed that to be a little stronger to support the couch. It is day 3, I think, of trying to fix this camper. So we have everything ripped out the way that it needs to be, and it is time to start putting things back together. We got some new flooring, we got some shiplap, we got some insulation. It's time to do this. First step is to cut the OSB to fit on the floor, and we're going to kind of test fit it, make sure that everything's good. Then we'll use the scrap pieces to do some of the trim that needs doing. Test fit all that, take it out. Then we got to put the insulation in. We have some plastic sheeting to put on the bottom, and I don't know, we're just going to kind of make this up as we go. Never done this before, but I think I know, at least generally, the right process. So let's get to work. This part really was pretty much as easy as you would expect. We just measured the size of the floor that we needed and cut the plywood to size. It took 1 1/4 sheets, basically, not too big of a deal, pretty easy cutting. So we wanted to first get the flooring in there, and you can see we have it in here now, and then we're going to take it back out to work on the insulation. And there's actually a piece of subfloor that needed fixed. Right here where you can see this silver part, that is the subfloor that was removed. All right, now we got to cut out this really goofy shape to patch this part of the floor that was rotted. She cut it out. She made a pretty good job of making them relatively straight corners, but it is a goofy shape. This is what we're going to try and cut out. It'll make more sense once it's actually cut out. This is just how it makes sense in my head. So I'm going to try and transfer this to the wood, full scale, cut it out. We'll see if it fits in the floor. Then it's going to be time to cut the insulation, and after that we have to cover the exterior bottom of the slide with some plastic sheeting, and we're going to get this one buttoned up. Cutting out irregular pieces is always kind of a fun challenge. The key is to always just use one single reference point for all of your measurements. Don't measure one piece off of another piece that you're about to cut, because if your cut isn't perfect, then your next cut isn't going to be perfect. So always measure everything from one corner. Just like that, we have our goofy shaped cutout piece. Let's go see if it fits in the floor. In all honesty, I thought about deleting this clip and pretending like I got it perfectly right the first time, but I didn't. I'm fitting it up here, kind of looking where it doesn't meet up just right. Pull it out in the next clip and, readjust a little bit. And we get it pretty close here, and you know what? It's good enough. There are a few little gaps left around the edges, but we fill those in with putty off camera, and we liquid nails it down, and it's really not going to matter because the whole thing's underneath the slide and it's never going to support any weight. Now that we have the floor measured and cut, we have that piece scabbed in there. We're going to do some like liquid nails or something to keep that where it needs to go and seal around the edges. The next order of business is to cut out, we got some 1-inch foam board. We're going to cut that out in strips to fit in all these gaps here. And Sarah's working on cutting the plastic sheeting that we're going to put on the bottom. So we're going to kind of make a sandwich. It'll be plastic sheeting on the exterior, 1-inch foam, and then the OSB flooring. And then she's going to do like an LVP or something on top of the OSB at a later date. And then she has some shiplap to redo the lower half of the walls here. So working really well. And this is definitely going to be a better finished product than it was even the day it was made brand new, because this thing wasn't made very well. And unfortunately, this is pretty common with pretty much all motorhomes, to be honest with you. They're all made very cheaply and lightweight and just not always the best building practices. So It's gonna be a great product when we're done with it here, and I think she's gonna be really happy with it for years to come. We're using pink insulation board, which is actually a far superior product to the open cell foam that they put in it from the factory. So again, this is another example of where what we're putting in here is actually going to be better than factory. You can see here that we're wedging it in between the steel cross members, and then this all gets kind of glued into place, and then we put the plywood back down on top. Putting the plywood down was pretty straightforward. We already had it cut to size, so all we had to do was mark out where the steel frame members were underneath the plywood on the side walls so that we knew where to shoot the screws through. We used self-tappers, but we did have to pre-drill because the screws that we were using just weren't able to bite through the thickness of the steel that we had on hand, but overall, this went pretty well. The last step in the process was to use this thin plastic sheeting to cover up everything on the bottom. This is really just kind of to keep the weather out, but overall, it turned out great. Sarah's actually out on a trip right now in her RV after completing all these repairs. Well, mostly completing them. She still has a little bit of work to do on her new bench and dinner table situation that she's doing, but she did put new flooring in. She put a bigger couch in just like she wanted, and they're loving it. So I hope this video gives you a little bit of encouragement if you've discovered water damage on your RV. A lot of it can be repaired with pretty basic tools and a lot of work. We did do a lot of work off camera. You know, we really just filmed kind of the important parts, the exciting parts, but Sarah did a lot of work at home, ripping everything out, cleaning up rust, and you know, just getting rid of stuff. There was a lot of just material that we had to dispose of, and it was a lot of work, but it wasn't very hard work or technical work. I mean, it was really just using like claw hammers and crowbars and stuff to rip everything out. And we used, you know, a drill and a circular saw to put everything back in, except for the welder. That was kind of the only kind of unusual tool that not everybody has access to. But outside of that, it wasn't very complicated, and it wasn't very expensive. I think all in, she had about maybe $300 in material cost on this. And, you know, that's not too bad considering how bad it looked. When she first discovered all this water damage, she was super upset, and understandably so. And you know, it was like kind of seemed like an overwhelming project. But after we got in there and tore everything out, and you know, started putting the new flooring in, it's like, wow, this is actually pretty simple. Just rip out the old stuff, and we just need, you know, just get new material, put it in there. It's not that bad. Just take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and have a little confidence in yourself. And you can probably get this done, and it will be a little easier if you have a couple friends to help you. So that's all for this one, guys. We'll see you next Friday.